Wow, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I guess we're about hour and a half, about 90 minutes away from sunset. And I didn't finish the subject yesterday. I wasn't finished with the subject I was dealing with yesterday. And the world is changing. And they're saying things change quickly at some periods of time and then slowly at other periods of time. Um, we ended up the situation that my I was talking about Americans and other diasporans moving back to Africa, experiencing some disheartening consequences, being robbed of their, money or, well, actually, when it comes down to all of it, it's about money. Whether somebody breaks into your house and steals your computer, you still have to replace it. You have to spend more money. Somebody going down the road, somebody snatch your cell phone, you still have to replace it. It's all about money. But then there were those who were saying, it happens in America too. And it happens in England and France and Germany and da. And my question to them was, just because it's happening there, do you want it to happen in Africa? But there are a lot of other things that happen in the world that people are coming to Africa and doing, and Africans are not saying anything about it either. All over the Congo, people are mining. South Africa, mines are being built all the way to Libya. Now, the one thing is never spoken of with these mines is that when you take gold or silver or copper out of the ground, steel out of the ground, iron ore in the form of iron ore, there's significant processing that has to be done to get them to the stage that they're usable, whether in your computer, cell phone, or that chip that is going to push that satellite or rocket into the atmosphere above or around Earth. What is happening to all of that poison that's flowing down the rivers in Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, even Nigeria? I mean, rivers there and the coast is clogged with oil dumped into the land by large conglomerates that nobody is saying anything about. But when somebody comes to Africa and says, I was robbed, same people are gonna jump up and say, well, it happened where you came from, so, a thief is a thief. No. You cannot allow a thief to exist. And Africa, for one place, has experienced it, what it feels like for 1,000 years of allowing a thief to exist. How many thieves have taken billions and trillions of, if you're going to count it in dollars or pounds or shillings or whatever, out of the ground of the ground in Africa, stolen it, and you allowed it. Well, they do it in England, so I want to go to England, so I'm not going to say anything about what's going on. I want to go to Brussels, Sweden, so I'm not going to say anything. You don't say anything about the robbery that has left Africa without good schools, hospitals, food. Africa imports food. All of this land, and they import food. It boggles the mind. With all this land, rivers, that we imported food, the electricity that is produced in Africa. I mean, some places can't even produce electricity because so much is stolen from the country, every state in Africa. So much is stolen that nothing is left to produce energy for the local population, food for the local population, water. I mean, places. It's funny. Let me tell you a story. Here around where I live, there was this local farm run by some ladies that some person came from a country in Europe and established this farm and gave it to the community. They put a well there. These people used the well, and then one day something went wrong with the pump. And I'm reading the news report of what happened, and these people are saying, please send us a donor so we can to repair our well for us. And I'm shaking my head. I'm saying, this is not possible. These people have been making money from this garden. Why is it that the day that the well went, they couldn't call somebody and repair it so they can continue to making the money? But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem that somebody's been supposed to be putting away money. You know, when you invest in a company, you do research and development. You put away money for repairing your equipment from the sales that you made. You put away money to buy new seeds from the sales that you made. Why is it that nobody was putting away money for repairs on this small farm? Who was taking the money that was supposed to be put aside for repairs on a small farm? Why should somebody have to beg somebody to come from overseas and give them some money to repair equipment on this small farm in Africa? You see, when you don't want to talk about things, when you don't want to get rid of these thieves, you know, well, it happens in America too, so it should happen in Africa. You don't have to worry about it. Why are you complaining about being robbed when Africa is being robbed for, like I said, 1,000 years? From the time the Portuguese started coming to Africa, taking its men, women, and children, Before the Portuguese, they were the Arabs. You see where this, if we allow one thief to come and say nothing, where it goes? In the 1600s, millions of Africans were being taken out of Africa. You see this silence? This allowing things to happen where it can go? I've watched videos of Caucasians saying we cannot allow Africa to thrive. And I'm waiting for African leaders to say one word. I'm waiting for Africans to say one word and nothing. Silence. The same people who are saying, well, it happens in Europe, a thief is an opportunist. Yeah, he's an opportunist. But if he steals the first time, you sit him down and talk to him and say, look, we understand you might have a reason for doing this, but this is our community. This is our village. And we are not going to allow that here. If you're hungry, come to us, we will feed you. If you need a shirt, come to us, we will give you a shirt. But we are not going to tolerate that here. Now, if you start doing that, you are not going to allow an Englishman, a German, a Frenchman, Spanish, Portuguese, anyone to come into Africa and steal your brothers. The theft of African men, women, and children built empires across the world from Arabia to America. And silence is what allowed this to happen. I hope in your anger at this video, you're thinking, man, he's right. I'm angry at we allow people to come to Africa, take our brothers, sisters, and children to build their land, and they're still stealing from us. And it all came from that silence, allowing one man in the village to give Africa a bad name. You can come in, you can take what you want. All across Africa. You walk through the village, you see the smallest house has bars on the windows and big walls, 2-3 meters high. Why? I've never seen stories where a Caucasian come from Europe, climbed over somebody's wall here and robbed them. So it may be fear, must be fear of your brother, your cousin that lives next door, your uncle that lives next door. Gotta stop making excuses now. If we want Africa to be something better than we see around us, then we have to start cleaning up. ourselves. Don't build what you see in Europe. The European is trying to sell us the idea that wind farms and solar panels are the greatest idea since sliced bread. If you don't know what sliced bread is, everybody's got a cell phone. Just Google sliced bread. But there's something better than that, you know. Every tree drops a leaf. And guess what the earth does with that? It processes every leaf, every fiber that falls to the ground. Every termite, ant that dies and falls into the ground is reprocessed. How does the earth do that? It doesn't have solar panels, just the sun. What can we produce from all this mass of trees, the leaves that fall from them, the dead trees, animals that, I mean, produce, every living thing on the planet produces waste. What can we do with this waste? Now, to produce one solar panel, you need to pull 100 barrels of tar, pitch out of the ground, process it. The chemicals that are left from turning that oil or pitch or tar into a usable material far exceeds the energy that that solar panel is going to produce in its whole lifetime. We have tar and pitch in our, they're coming and taking it, they're converting it to solar panels and trying to get us to buy the solar panels, saying this is clean energy, we shouldn't be using our tar and pitch. Don't let these people fool you now. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Use what you got to make something better than what they're trying to sell us. Like I said, everything produces waste. While we are using our oil from the ground, before we release the poisons back into the earth or into the atmosphere, we need to research how to process all those chemicals and reuse them so that this cycle goes 100%. The same way the earth recycles everything 100%. This is a lesson that the Caucasian is not learning, and he's poisoning the whole earth. And if you follow him, you are going to poison yourself just like he did. So this thing about, well, it happens in America, if you do what they do in England, France, and Germany, guess what you're going to be doing? The same way they have poisoned all the land in Europe, you are going to poison all the land in Africa. It's up to you what you want to do. But I'm telling you, there's a better way. And it's not new. We are not supposed to follow anybody else. When our turn comes for rulership, leadership, we are supposed to lead, not follow. Our rulership should go in a completely different direction to what they are going. Positive and negative. The pendulum is swinging into the positive. You better take it. If you follow evil, evil is going to befall you. You follow, you look at where the world is going, and you see that for a cycle, a time, a period, one man will rise up, one country will rise up, and they will rule. And their rulership is such of a disruptive and wicked nature that it falls from inside, internally, it destroys itself. Do you want that for Africa? You have a choice now. This earth has been here for people want to say for billions of years, but when something can renew itself over and over and over and over, the time span of 1 billion years is when it starts over again. 5 billion years, 7 billion. So when somebody look at it and say, "Oh, everything ended in 7 billion years ago," yeah, that's when it renewed itself. That's when the tree that was growing here fell, and the seed that was in the earth below it finally got some sunlight and started growing. And you have a new tree. The earth has been reprocessing everything on its surface for billions of years. Stop giving excuses to yourself for doing foolishness. It's time for us to change, not to look at somebody else and compare ourselves to them. Do not compare yourself to America. If you build malls like America, look at all the malls that are now falling down, going out of business. If you build malls, guess what's going to happen to your malls? You can look at it. If you repeat what you see another man do, if he's failing and you're trying to repeat what he's failing, how does that look on you? Another man is a thief. He goes all over the world stealing. Even in Africa, he came and stole. And you can say it happens in America, so why can't it happen here? Why shouldn't it happen here? It's up to you now. Choose you this day. You hear what I'm telling you? Choose you this day. And the day is coming to an end. Sun is setting. You don't have long to make that choice. But somebody has already told you, you guys got 3 years. If you haven't started that change, this evil gonna fall on you so hard, you're gonna wonder, when did it start? How did we let this happen? For those of you who are making the change, be well. For you or those who are making excuses, I hope your eyes are soon open. To everyone, peace.